So good afternoon everybody. Today we are going to discussing about two cavity klystron. Two cavity klystron. So before discussing that, first you need to know what is meant by klystron and what is the uses of klystron. That you must know it. I'll I'll repeat that statement again here. A klystron is a specialized linear beam vacuum tube. You need to note down. A klystron is a specialized linear beam vacuum tube which is invented in 1937 by American electrical engineers Russell and Cigar Varian, which is used as an amplifier for high radio frequencies from ultra high frequency up to into the microwave range. A klystron is a specialized linear beam vacuum tube which is invented in 1937 by American electrical engineers Russell and Sigavarian, which is used as an amplifier for high radio frequencies from ultra high frequency up to in the microwave range. You need to see the two cavity klystron diagram from the next screen. This is the two cavity klystron diagram. So the simplest klystron tube is two cavity klystron. This is the simplest klystron tube is two cavity klystron. In this tube, you need to see in this tube, there are two microwave cavities. There are two microwave cavities. There are two microwave cavity resonators. These two are resonators, microwave cavity resonator. Because of that reason, we need to call this is a two cavity resonator. Two cavity resonator. So catcher, the catcher and the bouncer. Those two microwave cavity resonators are the catcher cavity resonator and the bouncer cavity resonator. Right? When used as an amplifier, when used as an amplifier, the weak micro signal, the weak strengthened microwave signal to be amplified is applied to the bouncer cavity through a coaxial cable. It means that if you are going to apply your input signal through your bouncer cavity, through this, if your microwave input signal is weak strengthened signal, you need to amplify the signal. You need to amplify the input signal strength. You need to amplify the input signal. That you are going to increasing the strength of the input signal. After that only you need to apply your input signal to your bouncer cavity through this node. You need to apply your input through this microwave input port side. Okay, and the amplified signal is extracted from the this signal. You need to extract it to the from the cavity catcher cavity resonator. From this only you need to extract. Okay, and at one end of the tube, at one end of this tube is the hot cathode, which produces electrons. At one of the end of this tube is the hot cathode which produces electrons when heated by a filament. Where we have that filament inside this cathode. When will you produces this cathode beam? This cathode will produce electrons means whenever this cathode is heated by a filament, then only you will get it the electrons from the cathode. And the electrons are, these electrons whatever we are getting are produced from this. These electrons are attracted to and pass through this anode. This is anode. This anode, here electrons are attracted to and passes through anode cylinder. This anode cylinder at high positive potential. At high positive potential. The cathode and anode. The cathode and anode. This anode act as an electron gun. This anode and cathode will act as an electron gun, which is to produce a high velocity stream of electrons. To produce a high velocity stream of electrons. An external electromagnetic, see this is an external electromagnetic winding. This creates a longitudinal magnetic field along the beam axis, which prevents the beam from spreading. Which prevents the beam from spreading. And the beam first passes through the bouncer, and this beam first passes through this bouncer cavity resonator through this grids attached to each side. You need to attach this to each side. The bouncer grid, bouncer grid have an oscillating AC potential across them. This bouncer grid have an oscillating AC potential across them, produced by standing wave oscillations within the cavity, and excited by the input signal at the cavity's resonant frequency applied by the coaxial cable or waveguide. The bouncer grids, the bouncer grid have an oscillating AC potential across them, produced by standing wave oscillations within this cavity, and which is excited by the input signal at the cavity's resonant frequency applied by a coaxial cable or this waveguide. And the direction of the field, the direction of this field between the grids changes twice per cycle. The direction of the field between the grids will be changes twice per cycle of the input signal. These electrons, whatever we are getting from these electrons entering when the entrance grid, this one only, The entrance grid is negative. The entrance grid is negative and the exit grid is positive. Encounter an electric field in the same direction as their motion and which is accelerated by the field. Which is accelerated by the field. Just you need to remember the direction of this field between the grid changes, these two grids changes twice per cycle of the input signal. The electrons entering when the entrance grid is negative and this exit grid is positive, encounter an electric field in the same direction as their motion and is accelerated by the field. The electrons entering a half cycle later, the electrons entering up a half cycle later when the polarity is opposite. When the polarity is opposite to first half cycle. And they encounter an electric field which oppose their motion and are decelerated. Beyond this bouncer grid is a space called, here we have beyond this space. What is the name of this? Between these two we have a space. We need to call this space is a drift space. Beyond the bouncer grids is a space is called as a drift space. Is called as a drift space. Beyond the bouncer grids is a space is called as drift space. This space is long enough. This space is long enough so that the accelerated electrons catch up with electrons. The accelerated electrons catch up with the electrons that were decelerated at earlier time. Were decelerated at an earlier time, which is forming from the bounces longitudinally along the beam axis. Along this beam axis, we have electron beam. This is so along this beam axis. Its length is chosen to allow maximum bouncing. Its length, the electron length is chosen to allow maximum bouncing at the resonant frequency and may be several feet long. The length is chosen to allow maximum bouncing at the resonant frequency and may be several feet long. Several feet long. And here we have inside crystal oscillator, which is invented from 1944. The electron gun, this is the electron gun. This is act as this anode cathode will act as electron gun. You need to remember. This gun is on right side and the collector on the left side. The two cavity resonators are in center, linked by short coaxial cable. This is short coaxial cable to provide positive feedback. The electron gun is on the right side and the collector on the left side. The two cavity resonators are in center, linked by a short coaxial cable to provide positive feedback. And the electrons then pass through a secondary cavity is called as, what is the name for a second cavity? What is the name of the second cavity? Catcher cavity. The second cavity name is catcher cavity. The electrons then pass through a second cavity called the catcher through a similar pair of grids on each side of the cavity. On each side of the cavity. The function of catcher cavity or the function of catcher grid is to absorb energy, to absorb the energy from electron beam, from this beam. The function of the catcher grid is to absorb energy from the electron beam. The bunches of electrons, we are getting the bunches of electrons passing through excited standing waves. Here we have passing through excited standing waves in the cavity, which has the same resonant frequency as the bouncer cavity, which has the same resonant frequency as the buncher cavity. So each bunch of electrons, each bunch of electrons passes through or passes between the grids at a point in the cycle when the exit grid is negative with respect to the entrance grid. Each bunch of the electrons passes between the grids at a point in the cycle when the exit grid is negative with respect to the entrance grid. So that the electric field in the cavity between the grids opposes, so that the electric field in the cavity between the grids opposes the electron motion, opposes the electrons motion. The electrons thus do work on the electric field. The electrons thus do work on the electric field and are decelerated. Their kinetic energy is converted into electric potential energy by increasing the amplitude of the oscillating electric field in the cavity. The electrons thus do work on the electric field and are decelerated. Their kinetic energy is converted into electric potential energy by increasing the amplitude of the oscillating electric field in the cavity. Thus, the oscillating field in the catcher cavity, thus the oscillating field in the catcher cavity, the oscillating field in the catcher cavity is an amplified copy of the signal applied to the bouncer cavity. Thus the oscillating field in the catcher cavity, is amplified copy of a signal applied to the bouncer cavity. This amplified signal is extracted from the
సార్ స్క్రీన్ రావట్లేదు సార్, స్లైడ్స్ ఒకటి మూవ్ అవ్వట్లేదు.
Screen is not visible.
Now it's visible, sir.
Thus, the oscillating field in the catcher cavity is amplified copy of the signal applied to the bouncer cavity. This amplified signal is extracted from the catcher cavity through a coaxial cable, or sometimes you need to call this coaxial cable also like act as a waveguide. After passing through catcher cavity and giving up its energy, the lower energy electron beam is absorbed by a collector electrode. This is the electrode which will be act as a collector. A second anode. The second anode which is kept at a small positive voltage. Which is kept at a small positive voltage. So this is the basic function of two cavity resonator, or the operation of two cavity resonator. You need to remember in this slide, so I'll read out once again. You need to remember, just I'll read out these slides. You need to remember. The klystron tube is a two cavity klystron. So in this tube there are two microwave cavity resonators. One is the catcher, another one is the bouncer. So if you have a weak signal, first you need to amplify your signal, then only you need to apply your signal through this microwave input. Okay na? Through this microwave input. Fine. And amplified signal extracted from this to catcher cavity. After amplifying, this signal is extracted from the catcher cavity. Okay. So at the one of the end, what we have? This hot cathode. This is a hot cathode, which is produces electrons. When will you generate this cathode to generate electrons or produces electrons? By heating a filament inside this cathode. Here we have inside in this cathode we have filament. If you heat this filament, whenever getting heating from this filament, then only this will be produces electrons. That electrons are attracted to pass through anode. Here we have anode. These electrons will be passes through this anode, which is like a cylinder at high positive potential. This cathode and anode will act as electron gun. This electron gun produces a high velocity stream of electrons. If it will be act as electron gun means which will be produce a high velocity stream of electrons. An external electromagnetic winding this creates a longitudinal magnetic field along the beam axis which prevents the beam from the spreading. This beam force passes through the bouncer cavity resonator through grid attached to each side. These bouncer grids have an oscillating AC potential across them, produced by standing wave oscillations within the cavity, excited by input signal at cavity's resonant frequency applied by coaxial cable or waveguide. The direction of this field between grids changes twice per cycle of input signal. The electrons entering when the entrance grid is negative and exit grid is positive encounter an electric field in the same direction as their motion and accelerated by the field. and the electrons entering a half cycle later. These electrons will be entering after half cycle later when the polarity is opposite. Why means these electrons will be entering after half cycle. This is the positive. Let us assume this is the negative. This is the positive. Because that reason you need to call the polarities opposite to each. And which is encounter an electric field which opposes their motion and are decelerated. Beyond this boundary cavity grid is a space is called drift space. The space is long enough so that the accelerated electrons catch up with electrons that were decelerated at an earlier time, forming bounces longitudinal along the beam axis. Its length is chosen to allow maximum bouncing at the resonant frequency and may be several feet along. The Klystron oscillator from 1944. The electron gun is on right side, and the collector on the left side. The two cavity resonators are in center, linked by a stat coaxial cable to provide positive feedback. Then the electrons passes through a second cavity called catcher cavity through similar pair of grids on the each side of the cavity. And the function of this catcher cavity is to absorb the energy from the electron beam. The bunches of electrons passing through excite standing wave in cavity which has the same resonant frequency as the bouncer cavity. So each bunch of electrons passes between the grid at point in the cycle when the exit grid is negative with respect to the entrance grid. So that the electric field in the cavity between the grids opposes the electron motion. And the electrons thus do the work on the electric field and are decelerated. Their kinetic energy is converted to electric potential energy, increasing the amplitude of the oscillating electric field in the cavity. Thus the oscillating field in the catcher cavity is an amplified copy of the applied signal to the bouncer cavity. So the amplified signal is extracted from the catcher cavity through a coaxial cable or waveguide. So after passing this catcher cavity, which is giving up its energy, the lower energy electron beam is absorbed by a collector electrode. A second anode is kept at a small positive voltage. So this is the function of a two cavity klystron that only we shown in this below slides. Coming to the next one, klystron oscillator. So we already discussed inside you have a oscillator, klystron oscillator. You know the basic function of oscillator. What it means? Without giving any input signal to a either general oscillator or klystron oscillator, which will be generating output signal. Without applying any input to your oscillator will be generating output signal or will be produces output signal. Coming to a klystron oscillator. A klystron oscillator and electronic oscillator which can be made from a klystron tube, because of that reason you need to call it a klystron oscillator, by providing a feedback path from output to input by connecting the catcher and bouncer cavities with a coaxial cable or waveguide. Klystron oscillator is an electronic oscillator which can be made from a klystron tube by providing a feedback path from output to input by connecting the catcher and bouncer cavities with a coaxial cable or waveguide. When the device is turned on, when the device is turned on, you need to see the diagram. When the device is turned on, electronic noise in the cavity is amplified by the tube and fed back from the output catcher to bouncer cavity to be amplified again. Because of high quality factor of the cavities, the signal quickly becomes a sine wave at the resonant frequency of the cavities. Because of the high quality factor of the cavities, the signal quickly becomes a sine wave at the resonant frequency of the cavities. Next one is multi-cavity cluster. So in all modern clusters, the number of cavities exceeds 2. Additional bouncer cavities added between the first bouncer and the catcher may be used to increase the gain of the klystron or to increase the bandwidth. So what we have additional to this is we need to add it between the first bouncer and the catcher may be used to increase the gain of the klystron or to increase the bandwidth. Okay, the number of cavities exceeds. Okay. Next one is multi-cavity, right? So the residual kinetic energy in the electron beam when it hits the collector electrode, when it hits the collector electrode, you need to see the diagram from that. Whenever it hit the collector electrode, which represents wasted energy, which is dissipated as heat, which must be removed by a cooling system. If you get it wasted energy, or if you get it dissipated as a heat means, if you want to cooling means, if you want to reduce that wasted energy means you need to use the cooling system. With the help of that only you need to remove. So some modern klystons include depressed collectors which recover energy from the beam before collecting the electrons, which will be increasing the efficiency. So we have some of modern klystons. We have some of modern klystons, which includes depressed collectors which recover the energy from the beam before collecting the electrons and which will be increasing the efficiency. And the multi-stage depressed collectors enhance the energy recovery by sorting the electrons in energy bins. In energy bins. This is the reflection klystron. This is the reflection klystron, which will be made, which is made by Russian scientist, Russell scientist. So which will be called as a low power Russian reflection klystron from 1963. From 1963. The cavity resonator from which the output is taken is attached to the electrodes labeled external resonant. This means that the reflection klystron are almost obsolete now. You need to see the one more diagram we have. This is see this diagram. This is a reflection klystron. Sometimes you need to call this is also Schouten tube or Robert Schouten. Okay, the reflection klystron was a low power klystron tube with a single cavity. Here we have only single cavity. This is a resonant cavity. We have only single cavity which functioned as an oscillator. This single cavity will be act as functioned as an oscillator. It was used as a local oscillator in some radar receivers where you need to use this reflection klystron means in some radar receivers and a modulator in microwave transmitters in the year 1950s and 1960s. But is now replaced by semiconductor microwave devices. So in reflection klystron, the electron beam, you need to see, the electron beam passes through a single resonator. This is the cathode. You need to see, right? Passes through a single resonant cavity. The electrons are fired into one end of the tube by an electron gun. After passing through the resonant cavity, they are reflected by a negatively charged reflector. This is negatively charged reflector or repeller. Here we have negatively charged reflector electrode for another pass through the cavity where they are then collected. The electron beam is velocity modulated. The electron beam is velocity modulated when it first passes through the cavity. The formation of electron bunches, the formation of these electron bunches takes place in the drift space between the reflector and the cavity. The voltage on the reflector must be adjusted so that the bunching is at a maximum as the electron beam re-enters the resonant cavity. Thus, ensure that a maximum of energy is transferred from the electron beam to the RF oscillations in the cavity. The reflector voltage, the reflected voltage may be varied slightly from the optimum value, which results in the some losses of output power, but also in a variation in frequency. This effect is used to good advantage for automatic frequency control in receivers and in frequency modulation for transmitters. The level of modulation is applied for transmission is small enough that the power output essentially remain constant. At region 4 from the optimum voltage, no oscillations are obtained at all. There are often several regions of reflector voltage where the reflection klystron will be oscillate. These are referred to as modes. The electronic tuning range of the reflection klystron is usually referred to as the variation in the frequency between half power points, the points in the oscillating mode where the power output is half the maximum output in the mode. So this is the Omo diagram for cut-way reflection klystron. What will be happening inside the klystron? Reflection klystron. So what is the half cycle? We already discussed, right? The half power points that like that. This is the variance. Just you need to see inside. Next one is tuning. So some klystrons have cavities that are tunable. They will have the tuner inside in that. You will able to tune. Okay, by adjusting the frequency of individual cavities. How to tune the signal or how to change the signal with the help of frequency only. Then only the signal will be varies. So by adjusting the frequency of individual cavities, the technician can change the operating frequency again, output power or bandwidth of the amplifier. So no klystrons are exactly identical. This means that even when comparing like watt or model number klystrons. So each unit has manufacturer supplied calibration values for its specific performance characteristics. So without this information, the klystron would not be properly tunable and hence not perform well if at all. Not perform well if at all. The tuning a klystron is delicate work which, if not done properly, can cause damage to equipment or injury to the technician due to the very high voltages that could be produced. Tuning a klystron is delicate work which, if not done properly, can cause damage to equipment or injury to the technician due to the very high voltage that could be produced. The technician must be careful not to exceed the limits of the gradations or damage to klystron can result. So other precautions taken when tuning a klystron include using non-ferrous tools. So some klystrons employ permanent magnets. If a technician uses ferrous tool, which are ferromagnetic, and comes to close the intense magnetic fields that contains the electron beam, such as a tool can be pulled into the unit by the intense magnetic force, smashing fingers, injuring the technician or damaging the unit. Especially lightweight non-magnetic tools made of beryllium alloy have been used for tuning United States. So the Air Force klystron precautions are routinely taken when transporting klystron devices in aircraft. As the intense magnetic field can interfere with the magnetic navigation equipment. Special over packs are designed to help limit this field in the field and thus allow such devices to be transported safely. And the next one is optical klystron. Next one is optical klystron. The technique of amplification used in the klystron is also being applied experimentally at optical frequency in a type of a laser called the free electron laser, FEL, free electron laser. These devices are called optical klystrons instead of microwave cavities. These uses devices called undulators. The electron beam passes through an undulator in which a laser light beam causes bunching of the electrons. Then the beam passes through a second undulator in which the electron bunches causes oscillations to create second a more powerful light beam. Next one is floating drift tube cluster. The floating drift tube cluster has a single cylindrical chamber containing an electrically isolated central tube. Electrically, this is similar to the two-cavity oscillator klystron with considerable feedback between the two cavities. The electrons existing the source cavity are velocity modulated by the electric field as they travel through the drift tube and emerge at the destination chamber in bunches, delivering power to the oscillations in the cavity. This type of oscillator klystron has an advantage over the two-cavity klystron, on which it is based in that it needs only one tuning element to affect changes in the frequency. The drift tube is electrically insulated from the cavity walls and DC bias is applied separately. Next is applications. Klystron can produce 4 higher microwave power outputs than solid state microwave devices such as gun diodes. In modern systems, they are used from ultra high frequency up to hundreds of gigahertz. The klystrons can be found at work in radar, satellite and wideband high power communication, medicine and high energy physics. At SLAC, for example, klystrons are routinely employed which have outputs in the range of 50 megawatts and 50 kilowatts at 2856 megahertz. So these are the applications what we have.